Oh, team.
Hey guys,
Here we are.
Friday live at the Lightbox with a special guest
And we
today.
have got a very special
We'd like to introduce John Sorority.
We would love to
John.
introduce John.
Thank you. Lovely to be here. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you
are
for the invitation.
No, thank you for joining us because we
Mate,
have had
You go overseas, man.
a few weeks of
You go all over.
relationship talk, and you're the man to put some insight.
Vinci's on, so Vinci, can you stick with us? I asked Vinci to come on.
Okay.
So he's very
Hey,
specific
and Sunita Butler's joining us.
Anita all the way from Bundy and Anna Barnes. So all we might do is we might just give John a bit of a wrap and get him to talk about Insight Men's before we talk about. So, mate,
Inside Tribe.
Inside Tribe.
Yeah.
Talk
Men and women.
Men and women.
Well, the group is called Insight Tribe.
And the other genders that are kicking around these days.
Yeah,
No, that's
we've
that.
got
Oh, sorry.
Insight Men's Circle
Not again, you
for
two.
men,
I know.
Insight Women's Circle for women, and
Right.
we've got Insight Circle for men and women.
Right.
So Monday night we had 15 participants turn up for the men and women's group.
Yes.
Last night we had the men's group. We had 17.
Wow, that's great.
We had 2 new men turn up, so
Yeah.
it was exciting.
Good on you.
Learning about what we do, how we do it,
Wow.
our modality, the way we coach.
Mm.
We set it up over 6 years ago
Yeah.
to support men in crisis.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, he's gone.
It's okay.
He's
Yeah, no, you
gotta
go,
put his
keep going.
podcast. Nice podcasting.
We,
Welcome, podcasters. We're kicking off Friday with Guins and Roz. We've got a special guest who's joined us today, John Sororiti's telling us about Insight Tribe.
thank you. Thanks. So we set up Insight Men's Circle because we recognised that there were so many men in crisis here in Gladstone committing suicide, suffering relationship problems, self-image, talking about suicide. It was a dreadful situation.
Horrible.
So we decided to step
When did
in.
you set that up, John? How long have you been going?
Over 6 years.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so pretty much right in the
Right over
boom,
each-
sort of.
In the middle of it.
Yeah.
Yep. We had another group called Teen Tribe, and that was to work with parents of teenagers that were struggling to communicate with their teenagers, and we taught them some skills, some life skills on how to communicate and deal with their children. It was interesting because after a few months they're going, our kids are just behaving so much better.
Oh,
wow.
Well, it's the parents that have changed. Not the
Well,
kids.
that's it, and we haven't worked with the children yet.
Oh,
And I go,
wow.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
must be us.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's right.
gosh.
Isn't that good, eh?
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
So-
Change them.
So you meet, you have the men's circle, the women's circle, and then the men and women together, so that you meet once a week.
So we were once a week last year, but we were just getting smashed. We were also doing it in Rocky.
Wow.
So driving up to Rocky once
Holy
a week
shit,
and then
man.
coming back here, and we were just
That's too
exhausted.
much, brother.
Getting home after midnight.
Wow.
Yeah, from
And then
Rocky.
working the next day at 6 in
And
the
then-
morning or something.
About 5 in the morning. So,
Five in the morning.
yeah, it was a long day.
Have a spell, son.
Yeah, so we
Stop
decided
that.
to go fortnightly.
There's people out there that need care, but not that much.
Yeah. Well, you can't run yourself down
Well,
looking after everyone else.
You
eh?
need your oxygen mask on yourself first. Remember that? You know,
Yeah.
on the plane, what do they tell you on the
Put
plane?
your mask on
Yourself.
first. Yeah.
So
Gotta look
that's
after yourself.
That's one of our
Someone
teachings.
said that last week. Actually,
They did too.
It's one of our practices is to honour ourselves.
And a quick shout out, Corinne Wright, Mel Kerr. Thanks for joining Tammy,
Tammy,
bald-headed unit.
Jason
Hartwell from
Emerald.
Emerald, and Mark Cuffle.
Hey
the
guys, thanks for joining us.
Go, Mark Cuffle. Mark's in such good shape. Have you seen him?
I've not lately.
I saw him the other day. He's got big guns. The gun, nearly as
the
big as
guns.
yours.
Oh, I'm
Which
getting
are-
there. I'm so sore. I can hardly lift him after
Oh,
yesterday's
really?
training. Yeah.
Good. And he's looking in $1 million. He's looking $1 million bucks.
Good on you, Mark.
And Isabel
Hey,
Holzberger.
Isabel.
Go Butchie and Isabella.
Joined by John Sorority today, talking about Insight Tribe, and
Yeah.
so you've cut that back. Then obviously you're not doing it once a week.
On a fortnightly basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So each one of those 3 fortnightly?
We have Insight Circle, which is men and women on the Monday night.
Right.
We have it at Dalrymple Drive.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
kick off at 6:30. You can get there a bit earlier.
What
Right.
address in Dalrymple Drive?
Number 19.
19 Dalrymple Drive,
It's the
guys.
shed. That's that shed.
Shed 19.
Shed 19.
Shed 19, yeah.
We use
Cool.
the facilities at Hopelink. So Hopelink
Hopelink.
finds
Okay.
us use their facilities.
Isn't that great?
And
Thank you.
we're grateful.
Sorry,
Good on
John,
you,
I'm just
absolutely.
leaning across you to get
So-
my
Go
tea.
for it.
So can I just share my experience too and just give Insight Tribe a rap? Because when I was a young punk, like 4 years ago, and when Zachy was a young punk, so I used to take my son to Insight Tribe, or Insight Men's then it
It was
was.
Insight Men's Circle.
And I remember him, because he wanted to be a psychologist for a little while,
Yeah.
and he, I think it was a great experience for him, and he decided not to be a psychologist for whatever reason. It got me there. And what I think I realised was that I didn't know that men had so much dramas in their life. Seriously, I just really was blasé and naive to the fact that men struggle like mofos, and there was so much shit that we went for about 6 months. There was so much stuff that we saw, and Zach and I would have the wildest conversations driving home. just about what we'd experienced, and shit, is this what I got to look forward to? He'd say. I'd say, well, not if you manage your mental health right, maybe, and marry the right girl, maybe, because some of that was going on, so with marriage breakdowns and things. And
did you find that after that experience and learning about how many struggles guys had, that you actually looked at your mates and that differently then, and you understood a bit more that they might, on the surface, they might be happy, and did it actually awaken you a little bit?
Yeah, it sure did, because what used to spin me out the most? Like, we would still be there at inside men's, at like 9 or 10 at night. Like, we'd have big nights. And then these dudes were like 6 o'clock starters. They're going to go home. Like, and they were in a bad way. So I'm like, this is what really got me. These guys were knocked around, in tears. And like, I thought, you're in no fit shape to go to work tomorrow. And they'd show up at work the next day, and I think, shit. Because there's psychological safety and there's also health and safety, right? So there's your physical safety, but there's your psychological safety too. Because if you're turning up to work like that, you just can't function. I wouldn't think. I don't know.
Chris Dame just said every second Thursday night back in 2012 saved me. Shed 19.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Do you know Tammy?
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's a good
Hello,
lad.
Chris. How you going?
Oh,
Good
shit.
to see you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for sharing that, Chris.
Isn't that great, eh?
Yeah.
That's man, that's saved you. Shit. And I've got to tell you, Tammy, I'm going to say that has saved a lot of men.
Yeah.
John probably put his hand on his heart, and I'm sure he doesn't count, but I'm sure you'd be able to say you've saved blokes from committing suicide.
Hundreds.
Hundreds. Holy shit.
I've been doing this for a long time.
Holy shit.
It was a year and a half ago that I lost my first man. He'd moved away. He moved out to Chinchilla, and
What can you do?
Didn't have that.
Didn't have the
he had no support.
While you were here, he was.
When he was here, it was because I worked for a couple of other companies that I look after their staff when they're having some issues.
Shit.
And the manager asked me to look after this guy, and we went out and saw him. And even on a Sunday night, we went and saw him and took the bottle of Bundy away and poured it down the sink because it was
A bottle of what?
Bundy.
And he kept coming to the meetings. He was doing really well. It's sad to say that he ended up making this decision. He moved away, and I remember when I was told, it was like, because I always had this proud record of never lost anyone, but unfortunately it was his decision.
That must have hit you really hard because
It
you
did.
knew the support he had when he was here, and he obviously didn't have that where he moved to.
No,
That's
it was
tragic,
a decision. It was the support that I got from Russell, the other mentor that works with me, my co-facilitator. He said, John, he said, man, this guy made a decision. It was his decision to take his life, as sad as it is, because he's so far away, we couldn't reach out to him. So,
And he couldn't reach out to you either. That's probably the biggest thing.
yeah, I don't want to break confidentiality.
No, of course not. No, but I'm just saying
his story was so sad, and I'm really. What angers me though is that the way it was manipulated, the way it happened. Someone made it happen. Another person.
Wow.
So it's really
That must
sad.
be really hard for you to deal with that. And,
especially after all the work that you probably put in and the care factor that you put into it. This must hit you in the heart when that sort of stuff happens.
especially when you can look at it and say you've saved hundreds, but when you lose one person, it has a huge impact,
It must be like a
no matter
doctor.
how many you've saved. So
We have a tradition that when you come to Insight in the circle there, we sit in a circle, and we always have a tradition of having a spare chair. And the spare chair symbolises the people that have come, and they've taken the wisdom and they've moved on. It symbolises the people that will come to seek the wisdom and seek support, but it also symbolises the men that have passed away.
Wow. Shit, that's pretty deep.
yeah,
Holy shit, man.
It's a native
It is.
tradition of Aboriginals and Indians to sit in a circle. We sit in a circle. We good catch. We
bit
we
windy.
use the talking stick.
Yeah, that's right. I love the
Okay,
talking
yeah.
stick. So you got to point to whose goal it is. Now, did you bring it with you? Good on you. Love the talking
Oh
stick.
wow, look at that!
Yeah,
There's
it's
the
a talk-
crystal in it.
I brought one with me. It's a small one that I use when I'm working
That's
with
a
couples
talking stick.
with a beautiful amethyst crystal.
That's it. Beautiful.
It is beautiful.
So,
it goes all the way
That
through.
points it, or you actually get to hold when you're talking.
Whoever's
Use
holding the
the
talking stick
stick.
has
So
the
that's
opportunity to speak.
obviously made
And everyone,
by
and everyone else can shut the.
that's an authentic Aboriginal.
Yes.
Hand painted.
Oh,
The dot
It's
painting.
beautiful.
Oh, I know. It looks great.
The crystal gives it some symbolism.
Yeah.
Um,
What is amethyst? Is that relationship or is it life or what's amethyst mean?
Coming from the
Heart
heart.
chakra.
Yep.
Shit.
Working on the heart chakra.
Good
So,
on
And
you,
interestingly, it's driven through the centre of
Yeah.
the talking stick. So,
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
very symbolic too, straight through
Yeah.
the heart.
yeah. So, are you still doing the work with the parents for the teenagers, or you're not doing that?
We do that when we have the Insight Circle. So that's where men and women come together, whether it be to seek support for their teenagers or just relationship work. I have quite a number of clients working with the parents or the teenagers, and supporting the teenagers and working with the entire family, the mother, the father, and the one or two children. So that's interesting work. It's work that I love. And if I can just go back and say that to this day we still mention Zach.
Really?
Still mention Zach,
Really?
and I still mention this friend of mine named
The
Anton Penny,
mad unit.
that has this amazing
wanker.
saying that, no, not at all. I have a great deal of respect for you. Today's topic is the 5 love languages.
Yeah.
And, one of the 5 love languages is the giving time to your partner and being present, using words of affirmation. And some wisdom that Anton taught me, and I share all the time. I just bash it. So your ears must burn. And that is when a woman is talking to a partner or a husband, she wants to be listened to.
For sure.
And Anton, what did you say to Jules?
Tell me more.
Tell me more, babe.
Tell me more, babe.
I use it all the time.
Do you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a secret.
It's almost like you catch.
When your missus wants to talk. Yeah, that's right. Tell me more.
Yeah.
I say talk me through it. Leslie
Talk me through
Shiramita.
it.
Love the talking stick.
Jodie, Luce, Carolyn, and Ange have joined as well. Hey, Leslie. Leslie and I had lunch yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, she's amazing.
I know. Well, we did
She's a beautiful, beautiful person.
I know. We did a podcast down here last week before you and I, remember?
I know, that's how she messaged me after you met, and she said, I'd love
right?
to catch up with you. So we had lunch yesterday. Well,
And
late
she's
lunch.
a crystal worker.
She is.
Sent me
She's
a
an
photo the
amazing
other day of all these
person.
1,000 crystals. Lovely for connecting with spirit.
Hey,
there you go. Isn't
she
that
is.
good?
She's a gorgeous,
Hey,
gorgeous
beautiful
lady. I'm so glad that you
Her and I have
indirectly connected us.
She's, absolutely.
She's a beautiful, beautiful
Right.
lady.
Now, switching topics. John, good on you, bro. Thank you.
Oh,
for
and
that.
let's just hang on before we do that. This is John's brochure, Inside Tribe.
Inside Tribe.
The fly, yes.
The,
And you have
the
a
symbol-
Facebook page or anything where people can find you?
We do indeed, Inside Tribe. Inside Tribe is the symbol there, the picture of the pond, the splash in the water.
What does that mean, John?
Let's see if
The
we
symbolism of the ripple effect, the work that we do
Wow.
carries on. The people come and learn the skill sets, and then it's a ripple effect that they carry on into their families and into
Is that you?
future generations. That's it.
Is that you? Okay, I'm just going to...
Oh, Jen McGuire. Hello, girl. How are you, love?
Thanks for that. That's awesome.
There you go. That's the link to the Insight Tribe
We don't do that well
Facebook page.
And I suppose, and
Jen?
just on one comment to close out on that, if you do feel like you need to talk, go and see these guys and gals. So there's a great community there, and there's no reason not to. And actually, I did a podcast with a lady the other night who has this Stories of Hope Australia. She's the same. She's sort of pulls people together that have overcome huge challenges, and she's just written a book on all these people that have gone from, really struggling in life. Really struggling in life to changing the world. So, yeah, Stories of Hope Australia. And check that podcast out too at theguineagroup.com.au.
Yes.
Get on the podcast and you'll hear this
You're
podcast.
podcasting the heck out of everything right
Actually,
now.
I think I did a podcast at like 4 this morning because I did an all-nighter last night.
Oh, did
Big,
you?
a bit dusty.
Yeah. No, you're actually looking a bit sprightly. See,
Really?
you're off keto.
I'm
That's
working,
the thing.
I know. I'm actually eating some
That's the
food
thing.
and drinking coffee again now.
Let's open it up. Come on, I want to hear the
Love
male
languages.
perspective. And you've
Right.
done the survey online.
I've done the
Didn't even know
survey.
you could do it
Don't
online.
you worry about that. So,
What did
have you done it in the book?
Yeah, I've done it in the
All
book,
right,
but
well,
I didn't know
let's-
you
all
could
right.
do it online. So
All
come
right.
on. We're talking about the 5
Love
love languages book
All right.
today.
Well, I'm going to give you
Gary Chapman.
all right. Now,
We've got it. Hang on. I'll just.
let's go through them. But let's do the quick first.
This is what we're on to,
This
guys.
is what we're talking about. Can I just grab that off you for a
yes,
second?
you can.
So in this book, team, and I'm going to give old mate a bit of a shout out. In the back of it, there is a
I don't know if it's in that one. It's in that one. Yeah. There's
in
actually
the back. There's this questionnaire you can do, or you can just go and do it online and print it out. Now there's 5. Strangely enough, there's 5 love languages.
that's probably why they call it the book. The 5 love languages.
languages.
Coincidence.
That's right. And that would be Jinx personal too, by the way. Now, the 5 love languages. For anyone that hasn't
It's on the back, I think.
done it, are they on the back?
Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah.
Ross.
Should know them by heart.
Oh, we should.
Come on.
Yeah,
Let's-
3
let's
weeks in a row we've been talking about
Let's
this.
see if we can get a
Quality time. Gifts, touch,
touch,
Words of affirmation.
Words
words
of affirmation,
and
acts of service.
acts of service.
Yeah,
Good
found
work. Good work. So there are 5 love languages. Now, from a male perspective,
Just do you want to quickly? I read the back of that book. It
Yeah.
just gives you a bit of a
If you-
insight into what it means about we all have different.
yes.
And if
well,
if you don't know each other's love languages or you don't know your own, you're actually, it says the problem is you're speaking 2 different languages.
that's right. And
It
so
can be a combination. Each person may have a combination. I have
Yes.
a combination. I don't have
I
just
said
one.
I said I've got a couple. I really struggled to pick one.
well, I've got 2 that stand above the other 3.
Yep.
So Harry Charrell Anderson, Patrick Laws, hello team.
Hey Pat,
Thanks
Harry.
for joining us. What it really means is that if you want to actually connect with your partner and you want to actually fulfill their needs, which really is what relationships about, it's not just about taking, it's about giving too. You actually got to know what they need and how their needs need to be fulfilled.
Because everyone's different,
Absolutely.
and what you would need
It's
is totally different to what your partner needs.
Jules needs.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
Yep.
And so what we did after about 20-something years of marriage, finally,
Never too late.
I know,
Never too
I know. And it
Well,
was
sometimes it's too.
and we talk. We would, we would not go.
Friendship style, mate.
We would not go a week without talking about this book
Wow.
regularly.
I think it's great. That's
we
a great
always,
thing.
we
that you
always
keep
say,
referring back.
absolutely. We always say, like, if she's not talking me up enough, I'll give her a hard time. And like at the moment, because I've been buried away doing all-nighters, she gives me a hard time because I've not enough quality time. So I've
Because you
got-
said that's what Jules is quality time. She wants time with you.
Absolutely.
And she asked for it though.
all the time.
She actually says, I
Absolutely.
need to have time with you.
She said, you're working too much.
And
or
what
you're doing too
would
much."
happen if you didn't listen to that?
Oh, I'd get my ass kicked. I
Or
would.
it would be the demise of your
Relationship
relationship.
would
So,
slow.
but if you keep hanging out the watching and waiting for that, we talked about it a couple
That's
of weeks
right.
ago, and yours is you did a great job, Anton, and
That's
I really
right.
appreciate what you did.
But
So
she
that's
didn't.
totally,
But she didn't, because her love language isn't acts of service. So she didn't even notice.
which is why you need to know what your partner's is as well
That's
as your
right.
own.
So that's why she
Yeah.
needs to know what mine is.
Yeah.
So,
Correct.
so I do remind her regularly. I'm
Mhm.
good like that. So I just say, babe, come on, bring it on, right?
The way I demonstrate the
Yeah.
love languages and
Yeah.
understanding what they are.
Yeah.
There's a couple that they're celebrating their 40th wedding anniversary, and she's holding up a glass of champagne. And she says, "Darling, it's been wonderful being married to you for 40 years." I said, "Thank you." And she says, "Can I ask you a question? Speak from the heart." And he said, "Absolutely." She said, "If you could change something about me, what would it be?" And he said, "Well, you know how you make breakfast for me in bed every morning?"
Yeah.
She said, "Yeah, it's because I love you."
Yeah.
And he said, "I hate it."
Oh, no.
40 years.
And
Really?
she said, "What? For 40 years
Yeah.
you've never told me?" He said, "I didn't want to hurt your feelings," but he absolutely
That
hated
happens
it.
all the time
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
relationships.
Because
We're not
They don't
going to say anything.
communicate.
We're not going to
Yeah.
say anything. Robust conversation.
Because you
You've
don't want to
gotta-
hurt their feelings
you've
because they
got-
are doing something
You've
nice.
got to
But
say real shit, man.
yeah, if you say I actually really don't like it when you do that,
And that's why I love being married
irritates
to.
the hell out
I
of me.
know. That's why I love being married to a strong woman. I shit you not. Like seriously.
Yeah.
Like Jules does not.
She
fuck
doesn't hold
around.
back, does
She
she?
doesn't fuck around.
No,
She's
she doesn't hold back.
She gives it to me
telling
straight,
you.
and I'm okay with that because I'd rather know.
But you match
Oh,
because you meet her halfway.
well, yeah. I
Plus they
suppose
talk
we
about
could
the book
talk
every
about-
week.
But I'm scared.
Well, you communicate and
Yeah, that's right.
what's important in letting each other know.
That's right. Hello, Lorraine.
Hey, Lorraine,
Now, so revelation.
Come on.
My love languages.
dying to hear
And I
this.
really want, because you know what? Like I read the first. I hadn't even read the book, and I got down to like the 4th one or the 3rd one, the physical touch, and I went, "Oh, that'll be every male on the planet." Or we
And
just,
it's actually not.
and it's not.
It's
I
not.
didn't realise that.
It's not.
I thought we just wanted to shag all the time, but apparently that's not what we need. We actually need other things, like for me. So if you do the test,
It doesn't mean physical touch isn't important in a relationship.
And
It just
I
means it's
know.
not everyone's love
Because I'm
language and
touchy,
most
I'm always-
needed. Yeah, most
I'm always
most
touching
needed
people.
thing.
yeah, and I always hug people when I see them, and you know that's just me, right?
Hmm.
So physical touch for me came in second at 9 points, right? So there's 26. There's actually 30 points that you're out of. So there's 30.
Yeah.
30 you get 30 points on this test, right?
Yeah, so put it up.
So it'll be upside down.
Oh no, oh, it probably is back in front.
No, it actually comes up right.
Let me read it for you. Words of affirmation. I've got 11 out of 30. So I regularly say to Jules, talk me up.
Sorry.
And I wonder if words of affirmation is why I'm always saying things like, tell me more too, because I want to know. Like I'm a bit of a communicator. I
Yeah.
wonder if words are important and
Absolutely.
verbal communication is important in my life. Physical touch, absolutely. So I do give Jules the gift of feedback on that.
But you're a real hug. Like
I'm a hugger.
a lot of guys, well, and women, they're not someone who will. They actually get really, you know. My family is very huggy. We've grown up being really
whereas
huggy.
we weren't.
We've got my niece's partner.
Yeah.
His mum's spending a lot of time with us because we've got all these family events
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
and she literally is just
Can't.
like. And now she's starting to warm to it.
Out.
Yeah, because she's actually mentioned. She said, "Oh, you guys are going to convert me. I'm going to start enjoying and looking forward to everyone hugging."
And actually touching and connecting with other human beings.
So that was really high on yours.
Oh, way high. Kim Fora, all the way down there in South Australia. I'm there on Sunday too, by the way.
Hey, Kim. Hey, Sarah.
I've got to come and do something at your car place too, Kim Fora. Now, what I was going to say was that with the physical touch, a great mate of mine, said to me the other day, we were brought up by parents in a family that was an emotional desert.
Wow. That's really deep.
Isn't that deep?
Yeah.
For a 45-year-old dude to say that and to be so
and
aware
to recognize
of that,
it.
and to recognize it, and to actually say that as an adult, he probably needs more connection than most people because he just never got it as a kid.
Do you think it goes both ways though? Like if you're raised in a family like that, where like we're real love you, but love every time we're on the phone, love you, end of the phone call with mum and everyone else, and we're very huggy and affectionate. But do you think if someone grows up in an emotional desert, do you think they can crave that when they get older or be the same as that?
Some people do. They won't recognise it.
Yeah.
And because
some
it's
people
the
do
norm,
what?
it's just
Crave it or
normal
not?
for them.
Yeah.
But when they see it displayed by other people, it triggers something. You have a couple, a man and a woman, and they have one's grown up in an emotional desert and doesn't know how to show affection. The other person is going to starve. So if they have no communication of saying, this is what I need from you, you can't fulfill me, you can't fill my love tank, and that's what it's all about. Is understanding what your primary partner's primary love language is and filling their tank.
Oh, absolutely.
So did you have a real, had a huggy, growing up?
No.
You were a bit of an emotional desert.
Yeah, I wouldn't say an emotional desert, but I'd say
it wasn't
a lack of emotion.
Okay.
Not a high emotional
So what do you think you are like that now? Did you crave it?
Yeah, I think I probably did, actually, just quietly. I've always been a touchy-feely sort of guy, and I think that probably comes from not being touchy-feely at home. I've sort of been touchy-feely outside of the home.
And Jules loves hugs.
Jules a hugger.
That's good.
So that's what,
that helps.
Thank God.
That helps.
Because I've got to tell you, I was talking to another great mate of mine the other day and talking about how this affects relationships. He knows of a couple where the wife was brought up in an emotional desert and still is like that. So she can't connect.
So what's his love? Does he?
He wants physical touch.
He wants. Okay.
And
so that would be a struggle.
That's a real struggle, I think, for them. So it was really interesting to have this conversation. We have some of these conversations at like 5 a.m. running around here on runs. Very important stuff going on.
Yeah.
Counselling sessions.
Good time to chat.
Good time.
So your friend who said he grew up in an emotional desert.
Yeah.
What's he like now? Does he?
He's
Is
good.
that how? So he's actually
good.
He likes the hugs. And
Yeah. It was on before, but not tell you who it was.
No, don't. He so he craves that more now because he didn't get it as a child.
I don't know if he said he craves it. I think
Enjoys it.
Yes. I'd probably go so far as to say he's emotionally intelligent and emotionally aware enough to know that as a functioning adult, you need to have connection with other human beings, especially your intimate partner. And so he would, even if he was feeling like an emotional desert, he's quite an emotionally aware guy. So he would, he shakes hands with me just because I shake hands. Like he'd probably.
And would he?
Would he crave it?
Would he get?
That's what I mean.
Would he welcome that more? Spending like as a guy, when you get to that older, if you're around people who are like that, do you think you're more like accepting and
what it is because he sees Anton doing it, it gives him permission.
Okay.
Someone that grows up in an emotional desert sees it in others but thinks that I'm not worthy enough. So when they seek permission. So when you give him permission by the way you greet him and you hug and you
absolutely. I do. I'll pull them all in.
And if he sees people's response to Anton hugging them, or that he would actually, that would also give him permission, wouldn't it? Because he knows it's not going to be, hey Jules,
Julie, giddy. Can you weigh in on this debate, please, baby cake?
Yeah. So he would obviously, seeing that it's not going to scare people off when Anton hugs
That's
them,
right.
that would actually make him more confident too.
It gives him permission.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Lindsay Warwick and Julie Guinea and Leanne Patrick.
Leanne.
Patrick.
Hey, Lindsay.
Donna Ellis. And touch can be putting your hand on their shoulder, a kiss, hello, goodbye, a ruffle of their head or annoy them. And a hug. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
That's me.
touch,
I'm always touching.
Yeah.
And can I tell you something? Because I've studied the bejesus out of this. Do you know the safest place on the body from a professional perspective to touch someone?
So not touching your partner, you're talking about.
No, I'm talking professional at work. Have a guess.
Shoulder?
Oh, John's onto it.
Oh,
John's
I'm touching
done
my
some
elbow
time.
now,
Yeah,
but I
that's
said
right.
shoulder. So say elbow. Okay.
Well, shoulder's too close to the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, believe it or not, elbow is actually, it's classed as a neutral zone on the body.
Okay.
Did you know that? There you go. John did.
Really? Wow.
Truth. So and the other thing about, Tom King, cousin number
Hey,
one.
Tom.
The other thing about, body language is all about being open. Right?
So open palms when you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Open vulnerability.
Yeah.
So this is a vulnerable part. Here I'm vulnerable. Eyes open now.
And you said looking in your left eye. You
Always
always say left eye, yeah.
Always left eye.
Left eye to left eye.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right eye to right eye brings out the aggressive side.
Okay.
The psychology is
So does that mean if you want to actually make someone feel uncomfortable, you should look them in the right eye?
Right, there you go.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
go for the.
Yes.
Yeah,
they don't know what to
When
think.
I'm coaching a couple, I always tell them, make sure that you talk left eye to left
That's
eye.
right. That's right. And breathe
Okay.
in unison. And even when you're having sex, make sure you're actually breathing together because you're in deeper rapport.
In unison.
In unison. Do everything in unison.
That's really interesting.
There you go. So
Body
we should-
language.
We can be sex coaches.
Yeah, yes, could be. Well,
Yeah.
and it's all about communication with anyone. So especially in a partner-to-partner relationship,
That's
those
right.
things are really
Oh, they
good
are
to know.
important.
They're really
Yeah,
good to know.
I'll tell you where I learned that. Hey, Dave Carmody and Lauren and Tim.
Hey,
Tim,
welcome, guys.
Tim would be a machine in the bedroom, I reckon. So he wouldn't need any.
welcome to our live, Tim.
That's right.
That's how you get created.
And this is probably his wife on there anyway. I think Lauren's on more than Tim.
Lauren
Dave
might be able to
Carmody,
answer that question for you.
Nudgee College, 1989.
Hey, Tom.
So
So
There's a perfect example. I'm going to get plugged for Tim here.
he's pretty
He's
touchy-feely.
amazing because what it's brought out in him is gentle, kind soul that he
Really?
is with his children.
Oh,
He's
hasn't it?
such
He's
an
so
amazing
beautiful.
dad. He's so gentle with his
Yeah.
dad. Like,
I
you
know.
see some dads like,
Oh,
oh, that's
no.
mum's stuff.
Really?
That's not my stuff.
No,
Leave it alone.
he's-
He
And a
gets
lot of
it.
dads do that with kids, though.
Really?
Yeah, they tend to be like the tough guy because they want, especially with their son. You know, guys just.
But
And
that's-
you're not like that at all.
No.
But I know a lot of guys
Be
who.
vulnerable.
But a lot of that comes from the way they were raised
Raised,
and their
that's
father.
right.
I
It's
really
called
think that.
conditioning.
Well, see, the thing
Yeah,
is,
conditioning.
thing
Yeah.
is, and my mum and dad will never hear this, so that's really cool. I said to my brother Joey at 12 years old, I'll never forget this conversation. Have I told you this?
No, but
Am I
I'm just
right?
wondering, is this around the time you were calling yourself a rat bag? So
Yeah,
I'll be
oh,
interested to
probably.
hear what you've got to say.
And I
That
was.
explains it.
And mum and dad said it's great watching us raise our kids because that's good retribution.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
good revenge for them. But I said to my brother Joe, when we were on our push bikes, we rode out of our street, we turned right, and we were riding along Ann Street there. And I said to Joe, it's been great this first few years of life because I know how I don't want to parent.
Oh,
I know
you
how
picked it up at 12. So was that a negative or positive
I think
comment
it's a
to your
positive.
children?
It was a positive for my kids.
To
but
To your
for-
parents, I
to
mean.
my-
Sorry.
probably
It shows his
Okay.
awareness.
Yeah, it was just
He was
awareness.
aware. So
It's
at
just how
such a
I
young
wanted to
age,
do it.
you
Yeah.
had that awareness,
Absolutely.
which is amazing.
Because I just felt there's something, I'm just not enjoying this at the moment.
So
Then I get sent away to boarding school. 'cause
that's
too
interesting that at that age you picked that up.
Yeah.
Because you're not thinking about having babies.
No,
and
that's
stuff.
right. No,
so it's
shit, no.
really interesting when you go, I actually learned something out of that.
That's right. I'll never forget that conversation.
Well, you just brought up a really good question for me. I'm doing relationship coaching that we talked about. One of the things my coach says is that you tend to pick up, you either tend to mirror your mother or your father in a relationship. You pick up a lot of your traits from one or either parent as far as what you go into a relationship as an adult. And I actually, looking really deep into it, I've actually had to agree with her. At first I'm like,
Who are
oh
you?
no, hang on,
Who
my
are you?
mum. I'm definitely my mum. And you actually pick up the traits of what they do to please the other partner or how they react to your other parent.
Yeah.
And I found that really interesting.
Wow.
So in a relationship, she's saying you either become, like
mum or
your
your
mum
dad.
or your dad. And it's only natural conditioning, like you said. So it stands to reason
Shit, scary.
when you're a kid and you're 12 and you're going, I don't like the way my mum and dad handled that. When I have kids, I'm not going to handle it. Yeah.
That's right.
So,
And we did too. And Jules and I talked about those things. I said, I want to do things totally differently. We've got to be able to.
So you made a conscious effort
decision.
to do that.
Yeah.
You actually consciously said, I'm not going to raise my kids the same way that we were raised.
That's right.
Is that the same if you come from an abusive like upbringing?
If you learn that behaviour,
So
you
if
can't help but replicate it.
So-
and it's a matter of choice.
so
It's a matter
you
of
can
choice.
consciously say I'm refusing to put my kids through what I went through.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's something that's commonly said to me in coaching with couples. It's a very common trait.
I love the twin story, Ross, seriously. And John would have heard this.
Yes.
There's this busted ass murderer, bank robber.
Yeah.
Have you heard that story?
No.
Oh, so he's
But
in
you're talking about two completely different twins.
No.
Yeah.
So the dad's in jail.
Okay.
Drug dealer, really bad dude.
Yeah. Like the worst, death row.
Yeah.
And if you walk a little bit further down the hall, you'd see one of his twin sons
Okay.
on death row for the same crimes. But if you went outside of the prison and walked down the street to the local hospital, you'd see the other twin, who is like the Charles Teo of the world,
Wow.
who's the world changer, saves lives. He's revered. He's the world leader in his field. Two twins from the same dad. Now, get this: they asked the twins the same question, and they said to the twins, "Why are you like you are?" And they got the same answer from both.
And the first son said,
Same as the second son said.
what do you expect?
Because of my upbringing. Oh, yeah. What do you
expect?
And
What do you
see, that's
expect?
all about choice.
Oh, I
They've
know.
chosen the path they wanted to take.
It's such a great story.
So you would hear a lot then, I would assume that you would hear, because I hear it a lot as well, everyone does, I guess, about, woe is me, I'm like this, or this happened to me because of my upbringing or because of my childhood. And Anton and I have covered this 1,000 times about you choose the path you take and you choose what happens to you. And you would hear that a lot, like the blame game. So they have to blame everything that's happening in their life that's negative on their past or what happened to me.
And that'll be somebody
right,
that is a victim, a professional
Absolutely.
victim. They look and seek for validation, and they'll go and look for somebody to pat them on the back. So poor you.
Poor you,
That's a terrible
that's right.
story.
Misery
And if
loves
you don't
company.
give me the attention I seek, I'll find
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah, it
else.
is attention seeking. I
It's
believe that.
misery loves
It is.
company.
Yeah.
You know, like that negative
Yeah.
energy attracts negative energy. Can I so Leslie Sharamita's talking about mirrors here. They're a self-reflection to heal trauma. You attract people who offer those opportunities to help you have a mirror. Spiritually, we attract those. Yeah, you're right, Leslie. I get that. In my first marriage, I was more like mum, the housewife, the mother. The second marriage, I feel closer to dad. Live in the day, eat the cake, go to the adventure, love openly.
Wear the shoes, dance the dance. Good on you, Donna.
And Stephen Stanhope's joined us. I want to make one comment, if I could, please, team, just about Tim Churchill.
Mm-hmm.
And John's seen Tim in action. Tim is. I'm going to start swearing on this.
So this is Tim who
This is Tim here. Lauren
joined
Tim.
us before. Who's the good dad? The one that you said he's a really good
Fantastic
dad.
dad.
Okay. Yeah.
Fantastic husband. Fantastic businessman. Now, what I love about Tim is he is in touch with his feminine side. He is able to share his, like he's a rat bag. Like when him and I were consulting, when I was consulting, we'd punch, he tackles you in the office. It's like a kindergarten. It's like a playground.
I can see
He's
you
a
doing
big
that.
blokey bloke.
And he's
I
a
can see you
blokey.
doing
Like,
that.
it's seriously, there's a lot of hard contact, like bang.
Yeah.
Come out of the toilet, and he's like one of those 5-year-olds that stands around the
Oh,
corner and
God.
shouts at you.
It scares you.
And scares you.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
I shit
Big
you
kid.
not. He's
Big kid.
a dead set.
You two would get on really well then.
We did.
You would get on really
We did.
well.
I told him, he never believed me. I told him it was the highlight of my month.
Oh,
going to see Tim.
that's really lovely.
And it was so much fun, and we just connected because he's the same as me, and
Yeah.
I've got to touch him too because he's touchy feely. So we sort of got on really well.
You know, that makes you extremely memorable. Like it makes you so memorable. Like when I first met you,
Yeah.
and that was a few years
Years
ago
ago,
when
yeah.
the basketball dude came up to Coffee Club. That was the first time we actually sat and met.
and he didn't even acknowledge.
But
me
you know,
sitting
I meet
there.
honestly, I meet hundreds of people a week, and you
That do
just.
that.
But no,
That ignore the male.
But
that's
you
sitting
because
there.
of no, because you.
You
I
leave
never,
an
I never
impression.
did get to the basketball, by the way.
Ray Willis.
Yeah.
It's a funny story. Roz and I are sitting there. I'm the head of the
We
committee.
just met for the first time.
It was our first meeting
That's
ever.
right, you were.
It was
You were
like,
in the committee.
I was the head of the committee
Oh, God.
that paid for his house
Yes.
and his food.
He didn't even acknowledge you, did he?
And he just comes up to Roz and he puts on the cool
Oh,
American
God,
charm.
it was so funny.
How are you doing?
I
You
was
know, and
embarrassed. I'm like, Anton's
are
just
you-
met
are you
me and
coming
this
to the
dude's
basketball?
cracking on.
I said, hurry up, mate. Hey, Ray, champ.
Bob,
Anyway,
see, yeah, that was funny. Anyway,
yin and yang
but what
balance. yeah.
the whole
Talk us through it.
the whole point of that was for me to say that out of all the people I met, you were so memorable. You always stuck in my head
Why
as
is that,
someone
mate?
because you're positive and you are
Leaves an
someone
impression.
you're
Leaves an
someone that
impression.
people
Oh,
want to
thank
be around
Yeah,
because
right.
of your
Positive
positive.
energy.
Yeah,
Right.
I want
thank
those.
you.
I want to
Well,
be
those
around people
around
who
us,
are like
that's
that.
right. And
So-
I must admit, if there's someone that I had, if someone ever said, "Who's your kindred spirit? Who's someone that you would think is like that carries on like you carries
Tim.
on?" It'd be Tim.
Tim.
You know what I mean? Like in our office, because I was actually on my best behaviour when I was with Tim, because I'm the consultant.
So he was the bad influence.
Oh, he's nuts. Isn't he, John? He's nuts. He's nuts. John's
no
works
wonder
there
he
today.
has fun with his kids though.
Oh yeah,
Like, I would love.
he's a dead
mucking
set.
around.
He's a dead set 5-year-old at times.
And hey, Maddie,
And in our
Stephen.
office, I do that. Like the girls in the office just think I'm weird.
Yeah.
But I'm always jumping around and doing my stuff. Anyway,
So,
love language.
yeah, I was going to say. So I noticed your. Yeah, we get a bit off topic sometimes. In
That's
case
we
you haven't
do.
noticed. So I noticed your quality time. So you're only 3. You got 3 for quality time, 3 points,
It's right down.
and
line.
that's Jules's love
So love
language.
language. Absolutely. See, I don't.
So
Well, let
it's
me
not
talk to you.
as.
Can I give you my perspective on this?
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
I'm going to give you the 5-second version. I want Jules to talk me up.
Yeah,
I need to shag quite a bit.
and not just that. You like hugs
The
and
connection.
yeah, you
The
like
connection.
touching and.
If you're
Yeah.
the kind of guy that
But I
associates
do.
with touch as sex,
Oh.
some people.
Mister, come around about.
Oh,
and we've got like
She's
famous people
No, but-
today.
really
And
dressed
look
well
at
for
you
us.
dressed up
Isn't
for
he
us.
dressed for
Yes.
us?
Oh,
Hello,
okay.
Matt.
Come
How are you,
on.
brother?
What do you want me to
Hey,
do?
Jim.
Welcome, Matt.
Does a lot of
Yeah,
time.
Let's go. Hello.
You dressed up for us.
You did?
Hello, Matt.
Jeez, we've got a big
Oh,
night going on today.
You know,
Hello.
John.
What's,
Yes.
what's
Yeah.
happening in Glasgow,
Well,
man? Talk us
We're
through it.
actually launching the Mayor's Ball live this afternoon here at Lightbox. I'm supposed to be James Bond.
Oh,
amazing.
you look at
You're looking
James
really
Bondy.
sweet.
You got the hanky and
Yeah, I kept calling it a napkin and she didn't like it too
Oh.
much. She said it's not a napkin, it's a pocket square.
so at the mayor's ball, when you spill something, you're gonna pull your napkin out.
Possible.
We'll just wear it up.
So, all right, can we give the mayor's ball a plug because the
Okay.
tickets went on sale today.
Yes. Today. And we've already sold 100 tickets.
No way.
Yes,
So they will sell out really quickly, and yeah, it's going to be a great night. Every 2 years, isn't it?
2
The
years,
mayor's
yeah.
ball. So great chance for everyone to get scrubbed up
Yeah.
and
It's,
pull a suit out of the wardrobe.
You're doing what Roz does. As soon as we put the live on, you check out how she looks.
Yeah.
Now I do, I do, mate, because it's
Yeah,
flyaways
John, we
everywhere.
got headline.
So what's the capacity?
we've got
What's
how
how many?
so 400 seats maximum.
And you've sold how many?
100 on day one.
So, like in
And
4
then-
days, it'll sell out, is what you're
Well,
saying.
probably not because the first
I'll
day,
get my ticket.
first day always sells really
Yeah.
fast, and then it will sell out. Though it's always sold out. But I'll tell you who the charities are. So we've got the Port Curtis District Scouts, Gladstone Community Linking Agency, Creative Recycling Centre Gladstone, and Zonta. Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome. So they all benefit from the money raised
Yeah.
on the night.
We hope to raise about 100
And
grand.
you've just launched the theme today as
Yes,
well.
Casino Royale. That's what the James
Casino
Bond.
Royale.
Royale.
That's why James Bond.
And if you come to the Lightbox now, he's like for these guys,
That's
they're
right.
having $10. Take that back. $10 Mayor Martinis. So
Oh, we might see you a bit later today. Mayor Martini.
Hey, can you commit, Matt,
Yeah.
to coming and spending some time with us?
yes, I
sometime?
will. I've already promised.
I know. Well, let's
He
lock in a
keeps thinking
date.
I'm making it up.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
know.
oh, Matt's busy. He's in Brisbane. He's coming.
Roz
And-
keeps
oh,
saying,
he
Well,
keeps
lock in
saying
today.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
we
lock
will.
in a date.
Next
will.
2 weeks are really crazy.
All
But,
right, and I'm away.
Yeah, well,
now,
he's getting
so-
ready for a ball, so.
well, that's not
For a
till
multi-
May 11, actually.
May 11.
Yeah, May
Lock
11
it in.
at the Entertainment Centre. Tickets are on sale now, and they can purchase them on
Online
the.
or
And there's a Facebook event.
yeah, there is a Facebook event.
you
You
can
can purchase
get the
online, or you can actually, if you're buying individual tickets, like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, you just call the Entertainment Centre 497222822.
Or you can book a table.
Of 10.
That's even better.
And
Book a
that-
table of 10.
No, I also
I
get a
don't-
charity, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, do I get a discount?" No one discounts. All the money goes to
There
charity.
are early bird special
Oh,
prices.
there?
Yes, so
Oh,
it's
there.
$100
Yeah, so there's a big
$160,
discount.
$160 for early bird, and
Oh,
then
right.
Yes.
I reckon I'll ask you, hey, is there an early bird special?
There's an early bird special, 160, and if you buy it after the early bird date, it's 170.
We're live on.
Yes. Sorry, I've been reading up about it.
And what was your name, sorry?
Jessie.
Jesse. Hi, my name's Anton. Jesse.
Hi, Jesse. How are you, Roz? This is John.
This is John over here.
Hey,
We've got
welcome.
everybody on
Look at
stage,
this.
so we're
This is
just
the
giving
biggest
a plug
live
to the
in the
ball.
world.
So
Yes,
Matt,
yes.
what's the entertainment on the night?
Tim Campbell Band.
Tim Campbell.
We are. It's a Tim Campbell Band.
Yeah, it was announced today.
There you go.
G'day, how are
I'm trying to
you?
keep up. There's Bridget. She's one of my events
Hi,
gurus.
Bridget. Oh, she's got her casino. Can we have one just
Hey,
to...
Bridget.
Okay,
So
there's
done.
ball, guys.
There it is.
There you go.
So I'm coming this year.
Yeah, you've got to come.
You're coming?
Yeah, you've got to get all blitzed and glamoured up. It's a
on sale
great
now.
thing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Great thing
And come to the
for...
light box now.
Yeah,
From
come to the
5
light
6
box.
for,
Absolutely.
$10
For
Oh,
$10
and hang
off.
on. Any ticket purchased on Friday, the 1st of March.
We're going to the draw to be upgraded.
That's today.
To oh,
So you're going... Is that...
Yeah.
all right.
Oh,
We'll
so
go-
you get...
we'll go
What's,
and do
what's
it.
in the
Good
VIP
sales
package?
Yeah, you get to hang out with the band for a bit longer.
Oh,
Something,
shit.
that sort of stuff.
Okay.
I'm doing that, man. Do we get?
Buy your tickets today, you got it now.
All right, well,
So GladstoneEntertainment.com or through the Entertainment and Convention Centre box office from today.
and in 3 weeks' time,
Yes.
you're online.
I'm online. Do you want me to
3
find?
weeks.
Do you want me to
Yes.
lock in a date now?
Yes, please.
Come
3
on,
weeks'
we
time.
need to lock in a date. Where's my
Whatever
phone?
3 weeks is.
Where is
Thank
my
you, Jessica,
phone?
for joining us. Good on you, love. See you, love.
So listen to your handbag.
Lock it in, brother. Lock
Yeah,
it in.
come on.
I don't know what 3 weeks is.
Friday, 3 weeks from
It's gonna be a
today.
Friday.
Oh, I know what it is. It's a 22nd of March.
Yeah, the 22nd.
That's fine. I've got 11 a.m. and an 18th birthday. You don't get
So
invited to
for-
many 18s when you're my age.
Oh,
It's my friend's daughter's
There
birthday.
you go.
Happy
Oh.
birthday, Regan.
Good on you.
Happy birthday, Regan.
Regan.
So the 22nd at 4 o'clock here.
22nd, all right, 4 o'clock. Let me
All
have
right.
that in, and then I'll go celebrate.
Thanks, man.
Surely the 18th birthday party doesn't
Well,
go start that
Mr.
early.
and if it does, I'll be late.
You'll be in bed by 8 o'clock.
Like the rest of us. Thanks.
So,
22nd
Very-
of March,
yes.
4 p.m.
very quickly,
we're
we've
gonna
been
put him on the
talking
spot.
about the 5 love languages. Have you
Oh.
read this?
No, and now I've got to go.
Okay, get out
So you
of
need
here.
to
Right.
tell us
See
what
you
your love
soon.
language is.
Yeah. In 3 weeks'
English.
time.
Good.
See you, mate.
Thanks, Matt.
See you, brother.
I missed an opportunity.
So Mayor's Ball tickets go on sale today, and that was our lovely Mayor Matt Burnett.
He's a
and
champion.
yeah, he is a
And
champion.
he keeps saying
it's going to be a
come on,
great
we just
night.
locked him in 3
Great
weeks'
night.
time. And that he said with love, all about the energy. Roz, you have the same beautiful energy as Anton, confronting to some, though that would be triggered by you both.
We're confronting.
We're
But it's good
People
confronting.
might, people. I have this joke where I say, people
And that is said with love. Oh, that's fine. And you know what? I've actually had people say that to me. And you know what? You know, we're talking about the dating scene and everything at my age, and
Yeah.
you're in your mid 40s, and
You're a young
and I've
fella.
actually had people say to me, "You will be very intimidating to a lot of men, and they won't want to go anywhere near you
Really?
because of your
Because you're too-
personality
too
and
out
your
there, too
business owner, and
Well, see, to
they
me,
don't like the fact that I'm confident." And yeah, so I thought, you know, well, that's okay.
I think that's
can
what
get over
draws.
that.
I think that's what draws me to you.
I can get.
Because why would you want to be with a woman that's not strong? You've got
Because-
to make a decision, man.
Well, I think it's because a lot of people, they have a personality. Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
interesting thing about the 5 love languages, that opposites will attract. You have qualities that you might attract a woman that has qualities where she's really reserved and quiet, and she's, oh, geez, I wish I could be like him. I wish I could be like her.
That's
And that's
interesting.
what attracts you to her.
Can
So
I
would
tell
you say
something?
Jules is outgoing and
Yes.
Like-
Oh, she's nuts.
yeah? See, so
And
it's-
can I-
that's a.
When I was young, I was really quiet and reserved.
Oh, did she
That's
turn
when
you
I got
into
with-
this?
Yes.
She made
No,
you
she
like
didn't.
this.
I don't know.
This is Julie's fault.
Yes.
So
Probably.
you attribute your relationship with Julie to actually bring that out in you.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Because she triggered something.
Yeah.
You saw something in
In
her.
her that I
And that's
thought.
what you admired. You want, I like that
I
quality.
think so.
want
And
some
that's
of that.
why, because you
I
like
think
her
so.
qualities, you've mirrored a lot of her
Yeah.
characteristics.
That's it. It's mirroring.
Yeah, that's right. We see qualities in
That's
others
really
that we love to see
interesting.
in ourselves.
It's a
Isn't
great
that
technique.
deep?
It's a
That's
great
deep.
technique we use in coaching.
So you, I think that's wonderful that you can actually thank your wife.
Oh,
for,
yeah.
and you've
I do all the
that
time.
must have attracted you, her personality, because you wanted to be,
I
you know,
did,
like that.
and I say to her all the time, because it was over at Uralla when it was QAC after a footy game, and we had mutual. Well, I had a mate who played, and his girlfriend was Jules' best mate, and that's how we ended up together eventually. And I
At the
said,
disco,
"Yeah, that's right."
met at the Urella disco.
Yeah, we met at Uralla, and then we actually got together down here at the reef.
Oh wow!
And then
the
that's
reef.
where
See
she-
the reef. They're
That's
still
where that's where
all
she
these years later. They're still
couldn't
picking
keep her
up on
hands
the
off
reef.
me,
Oh, I
girl.
bet she.
And what was interesting was the first thing I said to her was, "Geez, you're loud, eh? Like drinking and smoking, can't shut up, and like big voice." I said, "Oof." you're a bit out there, champ. She said, and you don't say much, do you? I said, no, I don't. I can't get a word in edgewise with you
quiet
going on.
as.
I was really quiet.
Wow.
So that was our first
So she actually brought you out of your shell.
I think so.
So interestingly, I know Zachy really well.
Oh, yes.
So are your kids, are they like you, both of you? Like, have they taken on the same character?
Well,
you're both so bubbly.
Lovely, yeah. Jules would say that Zach's probably more like me because he's a bit of a unit. And we'd probably say Tobes is a bit more like Jules because Jules is probably not quite as out there as I am, but Tobes is, Toby's quite just serious, I suppose. You know, he's the computer nerd, so he probably hasn't got the energy and the people skills that Zach's got. So in answer to your question, probably one more.
Zach's very much like you in personality.
Oh, is he? Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's nice.
If I would say.
I think he is. So on that point, John, with the love languages, when do you start developing that? Is it as a child, or like when you're in your parents' home and you start to learn things and pick things up? And in the same question, does your love language change throughout relationships?
Your love language will always change.
Will it?
Always change. Who are our role models? Our role models are our parents.
Yeah.
Boys see how our father treats his wife. And how often do I hear the story? Well, Dad used to go to work and he was the provider. That's his label. And the mother's the housekeeper. So you look after the house, you look after the kids, you wash the house, wash the clothes and do all the cooking. And that's stereotypical, and I'm being disrespectful, but so many people, men, think that. That's the culture that they've been brought up in. So if that's their role model, that's what they imitate.
So when does that change? Like, does it change when you become a teenager and you start dating and then you meet the first partner? And because apparently most of us have three long-term relationships within our lives, is what I've been told. Like
intimate relationships.
Very lucky people like yourselves who are with one person. Because we talked about the divorce rate, and we know a lot of people aren't with the same person. But so does that change, like as you become a teenager and then your 20s and you start dating? And
this is a conversation I had just recently with some parents. They were trying to figure out our son, who's really well behaved, and all of a sudden he's going off the rails. What's going on? And I said, well, you can understand when your son was born, he's a baby. He's totally reliant on you. You look at him, and he can poo and pee and throw up on you and do all on you, but you still love him. You love him. The teenager grows up and realises that, okay, there's got to be more to it. I've got to find my own love. I want to be attracted to somebody. He's attracted to mum and dad and his siblings, perhaps, but he's going to go and start to venture. And this happens with girls too. They want to venture, they want to experiment. They want to find, in their own way, using their own ability and skill set, to find the love that they want.
And they get influenced by outside things then, don't they? They're not protected by the family unit anymore.
Because they're actually starting to form their own identity. Yep. So if you think of a relationship with the father being just a role model, and it's just like, I go to work and I don't do anything else.
Yeah.
That's going to be a really good one. It's very common though.
Is it?
It's very, very common.
I'm surprised that you say that, because I just feel like we've moved past that a bit, but you see it more than I do.
No. If you think, you go right back to the Industrial Revolution, people used to live in village communities. Yeah, everyone knew each other, everyone worked together, everyone supported each other. The family was a unit. The Industrial Revolution required people to come off the farms and work in the cities and work in the factories, because they needed factory workers. They got paid more, so it was more productive to go and work in the factory. What happens? The family unit, as we know, the father had to go to work and would have to travel long distances. The mother's left at home with the responsibility of bringing up the children. So we have continued in that mentality. And it's not until people search for some personal development to change it and go, I need to change this.
Counselling, coaching as a relationship.
Correct. Yeah.
And if you think about it, two people fall in love. So what's the attraction? They fell in love because there was an attraction originally. Sure.
Starts at lust.
That's
we talked about that.
But you've got to go beyond that.
That's right.
More, and relationship is more than just in the sex.
That's right. And that's where we started this conversation, was that words of affirmation. And in an intimate relationship, I'm okay to say that as a male, I really appreciate a strong sexual relationship, because I tell you what, if you don't have that, I believe that an intimate relationship can't last without a good sexual relationship. That's my gut feel. And I'm sure there's stats out there that prove it either way. But I'm okay to say that as a male.
I think physical. Definitely,
Physical
there's
touch.
got to be. There's got to be physical. I don't know. I could be wrong too, but from what I believe,
doesn't it?
there has to be intimacy within a relationship, and
Got to fly.
for you to have that connection. Well, for everybody that I know, pretty much, would
Thanks, team.
agrees with that. But see you later, Chris.
Yeah. Remember last week when you had your podcast on, and
Yeah.
I said you were talking about intimacy, and I said intimacy.
Yeah.
And this is a really great vehicle to actually teach people that.
To look
Look
outside.
look into me. See, yeah,
Look
into me.
into my heart, look into my soul, and find out who I really am.
Yeah.
It's not about performing with bringing lots of money in and going
No,
to work and
that's
earning big bucks or
Yeah.
performing in bed.
That's
It's
right.
more than that.
Yeah.
True
It's-
love is from the
that's
heart.
right.
So why do we use a heart? The heart is used as a symbol of love
Yeah.
because we go into our heart. When we go into heart space when we're talking with our loved ones.
Into me. See.
And I wonder, see, to me, an intimate relationship is uncool if it's all about you. Like an intimate relationship. Oh, look at that. John carries a heart with him. Good on you, man.
It's one of my props.
Oh, good on you. I reckon.
Is that stone? That's lovely.
Isn't that cute? I reckon an intimate relationship when you focus on yourself is really the wrong focus. I think you should give. You know what we should do? Can we do sex next week? Can we as a topic? Why can't we do sex next week as a topic? I reckon
You
we
want
should.
to talk about sex?
I think we should. Why can't we?
Well,
Why is it such a taboo topic?
No, we can talk about
Next
it. I
week,
just
sex-
probably don't
sex
have
it
much to tell.
Yet. You just don't. We're going to find out all your
Oh.
sexual secrets.
Yeah,
No,
I don't have any secrets.
Acts of service is my third one.
Yeah.
So I love it when Jules, you know what I really appreciate? When she actually appreciates the work that I do and says, you're busy, I'll help you out. That's what helps. That's what I
Because you said was it last week you said that's not one of hers?
No, that's
not one of Jules's,
That's
is
like
it?
her real
So
low one.
it's funny that you're like looking at those, it's almost flipped the other way
Opposite,
because
absolutely.
these are her two.
That's right.
You said quality time and acts of service.
Well, no, that's her one.
Yeah.
That's definitely not hers. That's like her.
Yeah,
fucking
so
one.
okay, so you're about mid-range with both of those. Both of you are mid-range with that one. So
And
yeah.
quality time, and I don't mind if you don't give me gifts. So, don't give me anything. That
Does
doesn't
Jules
really
like
flatter.
gifts?
Yes, that's fine. That's for her.
That's
Quality
interesting.
time and give a
There's a
gift.
flip on both sides
That's
with
right.
them. Yeah.
Interesting.
So before when I was saying how can you like looking at those love languages, how as you progress through if you have a breakup or you get older and you start dating people, how does your love language change? Is it because of your attraction to the other person, or is it because you grow as a person yourself?
Depending on the depth of the relationship, if you have a really good communication ability to communicate and actually fulfill each other's wants and needs by communicating. How do we know that? How do I know you want to be loved?
That's right.
If you don't tell me.
If you don't ask.
So that makes sense, because if you've been in a relationship before and you've never received any gifts in your life, and then all of a sudden you're with someone who's bringing you flowers and bringing you gifts, and all of a sudden you think, I really like that.
Yeah, I
So
appreciate
that's
that.
how your love language can change, is actually experiencing.
By experience.
Or you might have never had words of affirmation before in your life.
And then someone starts talking you up, and
And you actually go, this makes me feel good and it fulfills me, and
That's
this
right.
I really need you to keep talking to me like
see,
that.
that's the
That's it.
thing.
If you haven't had it, if you haven't had it as a child,
You
How
would
do you
know.
know?
it's something that you would crave.
Yeah.
It's something that you would crave, and then you go seeking it. And what you do is you have a connection with somebody because they say, "Gee, you do good work. I love the way you did
That
that."
makes so much sense.
That does. Oh, it does.
And you've talked about entrepreneurs, Wendy, entrepreneurs who have there's so many that have been busted ass broke, grown up in families with nothing. They were driven by that because they wanted to change. They didn't want that lifestyle for their kids.
They're motivated away
Oh, I
from.
thought that was glass. It's plastic.
They're
It's okay.
motivated away from
Yeah,
poverty.
yeah, and that's
Instead of towards.
that makes sense.
Yeah, they're not actually motivated by the wealth. They just don't want to be poor. Don't want to be broke. That's enough of a.
And all of
motivation.
those make sense. If you haven't had somebody doing acts of service, like for you,
That's
and then
right.
all of a sudden someone
How would
starts
you know?
washing the car and, doing those
You go, wow.
really nice, hanging out the washing,
Yeah.
whatever.
That's what it was.
Whatever it might be.
Now, what's your love languages? Did you do the test?
Yes.
What were they?
So, you said that too, because I was really struggling with this. I honestly was. Well, because you said, no, you got to pick one. And I said,
No, you don't pick one. You do the test in the book. Oh, you haven't got a test.
No, but I did. But they were even. Like, honestly, these two are my...
Words of affirmation.
They are my... Yes, they're my love languages.
Wow.
Yeah. They actually ended
So
up
we're
being...
very much alike.
my love languages, yeah.
No, I'm just agreeing. I'm agreeing with Roz because they're my two primary.
Oh,
love
no
languages.
way. All three of us the same.
Wow. They are absolutely 100% like that. That was similar to what mine were. But these two were like even pretty much. And
So-
I just went, can you have two? Like,
Can you have
can
two?
you have two?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you,
of
can
course.
have, you can have a blend of all of them in actual fact. You think about it.
Yeah.
Because I still get a thrill out of receiving a gift.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But
Christmas
this is
time's
different.
nice.
Like I need this. This
What do you-
is
what do
this
you
is
need?
confirming for me.
That's right.
If I'm in a relationship and there's just no holding hands or touching or how you going like that, I've got to have that.
That's right.
It calms me. It makes me feel needed, wanted, whatever. So physical touch, not just in the sexual sense,
No.
but in the
Life
I love
sense.
hugging.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
love cuddling. I love what I mean.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah.
whole and they absolutely were standouts for me as well. So I mean, I love it when someone washes the car for me, but I can live
Absolutely.
without that. I can
That's
do
right.
stuff myself.
And
I
you-
get that feeling of, I don't need.
That means
It's
that-
nice,
But it's not a need.
but it's not. I don't
Nice,
need that
but
in a
it's-
relationship.
It's not one of your needs.
No.
That's right.
And
But
that's-
those
that's
two,
one
I
thing
don't
we've
think I could
recognised.
actually be in a successful relationship unless those were the things that I was
That's right.
receiving.
So
And that's interesting that they're both. We've all got
we're
the
all
same.
at the same.
Yeah.
So can I ask you a personal question then?
Yes. Do I have to answer it if
No,
I'm
you're not.
uncomfortable?
It's too personal.
No, you don't actually have to answer it. I was going to say,
It's going into your heart.
yeah, that's right. Now that you better hold that close just to tell me. But Leslie's saying no props, please. What does she mean by that? We're not allowed to use props.
Props are the best.
Props are
Props
great.
are great.
It's a great way
I
to
love
me
this. It's
too.
beautiful.
I,
You would
me
love
too.
it.
I carry balls with me and all sorts of different things in my bags as well. And crystals too, you'll be happy to know, Leslie. So do you think that knowing these in your relationships, would you know what your partners, your two long-term relationships, would you have known what their love languages were?
Oh, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ask them or did you
No,
work that out
because
by just
I've
by
learned all this
default?
stuff I was aware of the book, but yeah.
So do you think that, like, probably not so much your last relationship because it's abusive, maybe your first relationship, which you don't talk much about, not just I'm going to say that I haven't talked too much about it, could this sort of stuff have helped you in that first relationship?
I don't believe it could have.
Right.
And it goes back to if you have a look back here, Leslie actually put a comment on really early, which we actually missed. Hang on, this one. So this is why that would not have worked.
Oh.
So self-love. So let's not forget
you didn't love
self-love
yourself.
because that forms the basis for a healthy relationship. Without self-love, it is difficult to set boundaries and communicate needs. So that I believe that is why there's no. Oh, sorry, I'm just making sure you don't blow the paper doesn't blow away. I don't believe, and this is. I mean, I'm good friends with my ex-husband. He's the father of my children. We're great mates. We see each other all the time, and he's very involved in my family. He still comes to everything, and we have a really great relationship. But I believe that coming into that relationship, I wasn't prepared to be married or go or deal with anything because of this lack of self-love. I was 150 kilos,
Nice.
Anton. I had some horrible things that I went through at that time in my life, and that I had to deal with myself. And then this man came along, and I just went. And
Did he love you for who you were?
yeah, I believe we both did at the time, but I don't believe I knew who I was. I actually wasn't prepared for marriage. I shouldn't have even. My headspace at the time, and this has been God's honest truth, my two sisters were married. They were both starting to have babies, and I saw them happy, and I just wanted to be happy. I just wanted to mirror what they had, and, and I will never regret my time.
You rushed into it.
Well, I did. I think I fell because I didn't know what I actually wanted in life. I was so completely lost. In my whole life, I was so
That's a good
completely
message.
lost.
Be clear on what you want.
Yeah, but I actually now this person, me, looking back 22 odd years or whatever it is, or however long, I wish I could go back and talk to that person. I wish I could go back, because the stuff that I know about me and the self-love I have for me now,
Holy shit.
I think I could have
You would have
actually...
been a better
Well,
partner.
no, I don't think I would have made it. I don't regret that happened, because I would never regret my marriage to Steve or my children
No, of course not.
for that
No, I
time that
don't
we
mean
had
that.
together.
I
But,
just wonder whether you could have saved it based on what you know now.
well, I don't believe I would have got into it, is
Oh,
what I'm
you
saying.
wouldn't have
I
even
wouldn't have
gone
made the
in.
decisions I made back
That's the
then.
clarity.
Yeah,
Right,
and
that's
so
okay.
I wouldn't want to go back and change it because of
That's
what
right.
what I got out of it.
Honey Rob, there's my godmother. Hello, Honey Rob. How are you, love? Mark Brooks. Brooksy. Swimmer.
Mark Brooks.
No.
Who's Bill Robinson?
Huh?
The man that did the Ride for Life last weekend.
Oh, right. Yeah, motorbike ride.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, up at
bikes.
Calliope Historical Village.
That's where we ended
Yeah,
up.
that
We
was.
we started at the marina.
I heard about that.
167 bikes.
Isn't that great?
It's fantastic. And we went to Mount Morgan and
Wow.
then Jambin
Wow.
and then ended up at the historical village.
Wow, that's
Thanks to
great.
Mark and his team, they did amazing raising
good.
funds and awareness.
How much did you raise?
I'm not going to quote it because I can't remember the exact figure, but it's
Round
quite
figures?
substantial.
Yeah, okay. 6 figures?
Uh,
Close to it. Good. It's a big number.
That's awesome.
I don't want to misquote.
So, hi, guys.
Thanks, mate.
So, in saying all that...
So yeah,
right,
sorry,
look,
that's very personal for me, by the way,
and
guys.
that's what I told you it was.
Yeah.
But you don't feel like you have to. You're
No,
a strong
and I,
woman. You
and
can
I
make your own
certainly
decisions.
don't. And
So-
it honestly,
Yeah.
and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I feel, is that I wouldn't have made those decisions back then
If
if
you
I was
knew
the
that.
person I am now.
Exactly.
Can I ask you
Just
something?
wouldn't
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
So can I just go before you
Yeah.
go to that?
Yeah.
That answers your question. You asked me about how we decide on what we do and
Ah.
how we do it.
Yeah, and how our love language changes. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our life experiences
Yes,
Our
because
life
we grow. We
and,
learn
and,
more
and,
about
the, and the
ourselves.
willingness to embrace new work and learn the
Relationships
skills
involved
that,
in
that,
Rex.
that is available if you want to learn them, to come and get some coaching, to get some counselling, to do relationship courses like you're doing now. You know, I work with couples, and this is really tantamount to
We never
the
do
whole
this
principle of this work, is the ability to love yourself.
That's where I was
When
going.
I-
I totally
Self-worth.
think that's the foundation of
Self-worth.
everything, John. But
Self-worth.
People don't know that.
no, I
So
know
that's-
that.
Because
I didn't know
because-
that. 18 months ago, I didn't
I-
know that.
I'm going to jump in because we are going to have to wrap up pretty soon. Mark Cuthell's saying a beautiful and intelligent woman was.
Thank you, mate.
Danger, Will Robertson, danger. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. What he's saying there is what I'm hearing is you'd be too much for some blokes.
Oh,
I don't reckon I could handle it just quietly. You'd be too much
and
for
I've
me.
been told that, so I'm fine
No,
with
but
that.
I say that with love.
I'm fine with that,
In
honestly.
saying that, I've got to tell you though, seriously, men out there,
Thanks,
get
Mark.
a freaking strong woman. I've got to tell you, get someone to make decisions. Get someone shoulder to shoulder.
But that's
who
got to
is
be
your-
their love. That's
who's
got to
your
be
equal.
what they want, isn't
Yeah,
it?
no, but
But you've got to be careful that the men that don't want a strong woman because
that's what I'm
they want
saying.
someone they can.
dominate. But see, that's so wrong. I want to walk
But
shoulder
you know
to
what?
shoulder.
I'll tell you right now from my experience, there are some people that won't change. They refuse to believe there is something wrong with them.
I know.
And when you've been in a
I get that.
relationship where they cannot see they're wrong at all, you know,
It's denial.
it is complete denial because there are characteristics, you know, controlling, narcissism, all of those things.
Absolutely.
And if you fully understand what a narcissist is and gaslighting and all of those things, I have read myself to death about this for 2 years trying to understand stuff, and you will never, ever, ever
Change
change
those.
those people until they
No.
can see. And I'm not
Until-
saying that you can't change
No.
someone like that,
You-
but they
you'll-
have got to want to
They've
change.
got to want to change the message. Now, what Leslie's saying is, what a powerful relationship was to evolve in your ex and remain in spiritual contact. You put up with dysfunction because you didn't feel worthy, and that was probably a good call. That's where I was going for this worthiness. Don't spend a minute of time on regretting who that gorgeous lady was then. Everything has changed. Good on
I
you.
agree,
absolutely.
Leslie. And you know what? I don't regret it. And honestly, I don't think either of us were probably
Oh, look,
in
Ian
that
saying
place.
men and women shoulder to shoulder. Oh, why? No, we're back.
We're back.
Way back.
Seriously, I'm going to tell you, men out there, can I just say something from a men's perspective?
Yeah.
Seriously. If you're not walking shoulder to shoulder with your wife, with your significant other, you're missing out, brother.
As
I'm
an equal.
saying, as an equal.
As an equal.
You're equal, mate. We're in this together. There's not one or the other. This is a two-way show.
It just lines up with everything we said last
Oh, it
week
does.
about Will Smith's video.
Yes.
Like that video, swear to God, I watched it 4 times
Time,
this week
yeah.
because I couldn't get
Oh,
enough
really?
of what he's actually saying.
Yeah.
And we're not responsible for making our partner happy.
No.
You need to go out and make yourself happy. Don't come to me with
right.
your half-filled cup and expect me
I can't do
to
that.
fulfill you. And you know, and
That's a codependent. You're describing a codependent relationship.
yeah,
Well,
and
I don't have enough love for myself. You have to tell me that I'm worthy of love. You have to tell me
Yes.
that you love me, and
Yeah,
I
that's
can
right.
feel that love.
And I love that
Well,
the
yeah.
message in that is exactly what you said. It's about we need to both come together with our cups full.
Absolutely.
And then walk the. And what did we
Work
say
the
about
journey.
we are together, but we're walking
Oh,
our
yeah.
separate journeys together.
We're walking our
Separate
separate
journeys
lives
together. Yeah, and I
And,
think perfect.
And I love that because I don't know why I do, because I lost my train of thought, but it was a good comment that I was about to make. And the other one that I'm about to make now, as I just segue into something else, I'm going to challenge you next week. Even though we're going to talk
That's
sex.
sex.
We're going to talk sex next week. That'll be a great topic. Not that I know much about it.
It might be a short live
It might be
next
a
week,
5-minute live.
guys. Just say
What I think we should do,
Potato.
what we should do is have a backup topic, and I've got one.
I love that we would have a pickup topic.
And it's called Collateral Beauty.
Yeah, actually, that's not bad.
Collateral Beauty.
Yeah.
Now, it's another Will Smith movie.
Yeah.
And I thought about it last week when you were talking about Will Smith. And I'm going to tell you the story very quickly. Is that, have you seen the movie?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a good
man.
movie.
Listen, team, if you're out there, we've got to go soon because I'm always late for dinner at 5:30 with my lovely wife, who gives me a kick in the ass every time I turn up late on a Friday night.
Yeah, maybe you should start booking dinner for 6. No,
6
then you're-
o'clock, not 5:30. I know,
Especially
but
when
Zachy finished at
$10
5,
Mare's
Mare's.
cocktails are on.
Now, the backup comment for everyone out there, can you do me a favour? Watch the movie Collateral Beauty so that you can contribute next week.
Yes, great movie.
Oh, we watched it at our oh, you might have been at that retreat. The next retreat that we did at Agnes, we watched that at night and unpacked that movie.
Okay.
And effing outstanding. Seriously, I just can't tell you how good that movie is for
That's it there, isn't it?
Collateral Beauty. That's it there.
I just had it up.
I think is it the top one?
That one. Second one, isn't it?
Oh yes, it looks like
That
it.
one.
Yeah.
What's Mark saying there? Understanding relationships.
All them between each other, any relationship.
All right, team. Well, look, it's 1:06. I've got to be somewhere in 12 minutes' time. Final
Thank
comments.
you. Thank you so much for joining us today,
That's
John.
it.
Have you got a final comment?
Yeah. What are you?
Seeing our topic was the 5 love languages.
Yeah.
I think that the message I'd like to give out to everyone watching this is you have to love yourself first.
Wow.
Amen.
That's good.
I work
Amen.
with couples
Nice indeed.
and I'll ask them, mother, who do you love? I love my baby.
Oh.
And that's where the story of the oxygen mask comes from. I use it all the time. So you love your baby.
Yeah,
Oh,
what a great
absolutely.
analogy. Yeah.
So a mother is always going to be
Absolutely.
attached and attracted to the baby. And it's just you have to honour yourself and love yourself first.
Absolutely.
Oh, no, I can't.
It's very hard as a mum to actually
Oh,
hate, because I've been
absolutely.
through that this last 12
So,
months.
okay, so you're in an aeroplane.
Yeah.
And hostess says, in case of emergency, an
Yeah,
oxygen mask
mask,
drops from the
right.
ceiling. Do you put it on the baby or do you put it on yourself? And 9 times out of 10, a
They
mother
say
that I'm
would-
working with,
would
I've got to
put-
save my baby.
Yeah.
I know that.
Wrong answer.
You gotta
Your
put it on.
face,
So
your
true.
hand will drop off the baby. You're both dead.
That's right.
So
And that's
You've got to get yourself right.
It's a wide opening, sort of an
Absolutely.
eye-opening statement.
Yeah,
And they-
absolutely.
It's an aha moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they realise that I have to love myself. Then who do you love? Oh, then I love my child.
Yeah, that's right.
Then you love your partner.
Oh.
Because your partner, your primary partner, husband, wife, whatever, your primary partner is the next person that you love.
Yeah.
Children
Then the
come
kids.
first.
Yeah. I agree.
And I have totally-
I said
yes.
that last week. Too many people I know live vicariously through their
You
kids,
did say
or
that, yeah.
or they stay in marriages for their kids. And I'm telling you,
That's-
people that I know that have done that, come on, stop.
I know we talked
And
about
it's
that
not
last
good for the
week.
kids.
I reckon that is a really great topic, talking about living your
All
life
right.
vicariously through your children.
I think sex is way
Actually,
better.
that is. Sex will be a much shorter life, guys.
Future topic.
That's right.
Just a quick plug again for John's
Insight
Insight Tribe.
Mark Cuthell's looking forward to next Friday. Self-love says
Yeah, Mark
Leslie.
Cuthell will be here.
I
So
think
Insight
Mark-
Tribe, I'll put the
Mate,
link in the comments,
I think I'm
guys.
going to
Thank
set
you
you.
so much,
I might
Ross.
set you up on a
No,
blind date with Mark Cuthell. Mark, what do
He
you
might-
think, brother?
He might outgun me.
Oh,
Look.
I tell you what, I don't think he can. Look at them bad boys.
I know, I'm
Mark.
just so sore from this.
You know what I think we should do? We should get Mark Cuthell on.
You can get Mark Guthel on.
Is that okay? Oh, thanks, John. Another prop.
If it's for the sex life.
That's another prop.
Just maybe you and
This is
Mark
the
do the sex,
benefit of
Me and
sex
Mark,
life.
no way. We need a chick's perspective on that.
That's the benefit of Mark.
What's that?
Oh, did he?
You can't stop thinking. What am I looking at? What are you
Oh,
looking at?
yeah, you
What are you
can't.
looking at?
Yeah, you
What
pink
colour
elephant.
elephant is it?
Pink
Pink
elephant.
You
If
can't,
I tell you not to think about
Yeah,
a pink
pink
elephant,
elephant.
what do you think about?
Pink
No.
elephant.
You can't help stop
Pink.
thinking about
I
a
was
pink
going to say
elephant.
all afternoon I'll be
That's right.
thinking of a pink elephant.
So this is it. You can't stop thinking about what you don't want to think about without thinking about it. Think about that.
Oh my gosh, okay.
That's a bit deep for the
It's like,
finish off.
it's like you don't know what you don't know, hey?
Great contribution, John. Absolutely. John's fantastic. We love him very much.
Yes, thank you.
Hey,
And John,
Mark,
we're going to get John back.
Yeah,
I'm
we're gonna get
sure
John back
he
in a month
has
or two.
contributed lots
Oh,
and we've been
huge.
really grateful to have him.
Mark Cuthell, can
Thanks,
you?
Leslie.
I really want to have a chat to Mark.
Yeah, we can have
'Cause I've
Mark
had-
on. Invite Mark.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because I think he's. I played footy with Mark 25 years ago and haven't seen him since.
Oh, true.
And we've connected again on Facebook as we do. But from what I can gather, he's had some emotional challenges.
So,
So I
would
wanna-
you like to invite him next
I
Friday?
am. I'm inviting him now. Hey, Shane, how are you, brother?
Oh, so do it publicly so you can't say no, Mark.
That's right. You know, that's the first time that dude said it's good day to me in like 6 months. He walks through every day. It's finally, I've got him to say good day.
Yeah, because see,
You've gotta keep
it's
trying.
consistency. We're repetition. We're here every
Every
Friday. He's got to
Good,
eventually
you
say
good
good day.
day.
Stay consistent.
That's
It
right.
is, yes.
So, Mark, can you come up, please? Can you? Seriously, I'm dead set because I'm really interested how you've kept your body in such great shape. Because he'd be 45. Let's talk about that and just talk about any challenges you might have had if you're welcome to. And come and meet Ross. She is a stunner, and who knows?
Yes, she is.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much. Thank you so
Righto,
much, John.
team.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Be good.
We had a great contribution from John today. Listen to Anton's podcast, Beginning
Absolutely.
Group.
Get on there.
If you would like to share that. 5 love languages.
We should
Read it,
sell that
folks.
book.
Read it. Do the survey. You can do the survey online
do
or in the back of the book. And thank you so much for joining us.
Get the
And
audio book.
have an awesome week.
Audio book.
Get the audio book.
Listen
Yes,
to it
listen
in the
to it
car.
when you're laying in bed at night or in the car. So have a great week, guys, and stay safe. We'll see you next Friday.
See you, team.